It was a freezing night in 1848. Snow fell softly over Vienna, but fear hung heavier than the cold. The sound of Austrian soldiers' boots echoed through the narrow streets, steady and threatening, as if each step was a warning of what was coming. The city looked calm on the surface. Underneath, it was ready to explode. Beneath an old bookshop, in the dim light of a single candle, a small group of people had gathered. Maps were spread across the table. Burned papers lay scattered on the floor. These were not criminals, they were men and women who believed their country should decide its own future. Leos stood quietly, watching everyone. There was no panic in his eyes, only resolve. "Freedom isn't something we'll be given," he said calmly. "If we want it, we'll have to risk everything." The door suddenly burst open. A young man named Peter rushed in, his breath shaking. "The general knows," he said. "By morning, there will be lists, arrests, executions." Everyone understood what that meant. Step back and live as a slave. Step forward and possibly die as a free person. Above ground, in the city square, the Austrian general was giving final orders. Cannons were ready. He was certain this rebellion would be crushed like all the others. What he didn't understand was this: when a people pushed down by fear finally wake up, they don't need training to become dangerous. The church bells began to ring at the wrong hour. This wasn't a call to prayer. It was a signal. People poured into the streets. Farmers carried tools from their fields. Students held stones and books. Women raised burning torches and shouted for freedom. One voice became many, and soon the whole city was shouting the same word. The first shot was fired, then another, and suddenly Vienna turned into a battlefield. Peter fell to the ground, clutching a flyer stained with blood. On it were the words, "Nations don't lose because of chains. They lose when they lose their will." Leos tried to lift him, but Peter smiled weakly. "If I don't make it," he whispered, "there will be thousands to take my place." When the sun rose, the streets were covered in blood. The uprising had failed. The leaders were arrested. Some were exiled. Others were executed. But the empire did not truly win, because that night proved something powerful. Freedom can be delayed, beaten, and silenced, but it can't be buried. And that spark didn't die in Vienna. It spread across Europe, to Italy, to Germany, to France, until one question echoed everywhere: when will we be free?